All right, we're going to call to order the Tuesday, October 14th discussion meeting. If you'd all please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Macro, roll call.
Dr. Anderson.
Here.
Ms. Arendt.
Here.
Mr. Caligari.
Here.
Ms. Cheddarwitz is not joining us this evening. Mrs. Purcell.
Here.
Dr. Richardson.
Here.
Mr. Sokolsky.
Here.
Mrs. Stepnick.
Here.
Mr. Stropke.
Here.
And our student representative, Ms. Naomi Casey, is also not able to join us this evening.
Okay, thank you. The board met in executive session on October 14th to discuss matters of litigation, safety, personnel, and real estate. We'll move on to citizens' comments. Ms. Macro.
If anybody in the audience would like to step forward to make citizens' comments, you may do so at this time. We ask you to state your name and whether you're a resident of Plum, and you will be provided 3 minutes to speak. This is a time to share your ideas, thoughts, suggestions with the board rather than a question and answer session. You'll be provided 3 minutes to speak, and I will provide you that timer on the monitors where you can keep track of your own time, but I will also give you a 30-second warning when your time is coming to a close. When you're finished speaking, I ask that you step over to the clipboard at the end of the table here to write your name and your address within Plum, so that I have your name spelled correctly in the minutes. Is there anybody that would like to speak at this time? No? Dr. Anderson, back to you.
Thank you. Moving on to our academic achievement and activities, myself and the board liaison. Up first, we have letter A, grants and donations, $10,000 from Dollar Bank to support Rachel's Challenge and $170 from donors Tues for the Pittsburgh-based book Flea Brain Loves Fanny. Any questions or concerns with those? Really thankful for Dollar Bank's continued support for us year over year and for the Rachel's Challenge program. Do we have 5 to move those forward? Thank you. Letter B, the 25-26 sponsorship agreements for renewal by Anderson and Spitzer Toyota. Dr. Walsh.
I just want to give the board an update. We're proud of our partnerships with Dollar Bank, Spitzer, and Renewal by Anderson. To date, the sponsorship agreements, we brought in $36,000 in alternative revenue for advertising at our events. So we'll be recognizing these groups later this month. Okay.
Wonderful. Ms. Macro, that was user error by me. I didn't have it on. Okay, do we have 5 to move those forward? Thank you. Letter C, the credit recovery proposal.
So I'll start this conversation. I'll turn it over to Dr. Boyers. You're all aware that when we started our Plum Digital Learning Academy during COVID, we were looking to give our students an opportunity to flex out some of their time, either full-time or part-time. And it's been a tremendous success. I think, Mr. Hartman, we have over 300 students that have participated in this. But also at COVID, I remember coming to this board and saying that as we were building out our summer recovery, that we wanted to look at opportunities for graduating seniors to give them an opportunity to walk with their classmates at the end of May. And we put in credit recovery into the school year. But we also added credit recovery through the summer. That decision was 4 years ago that we made in regards to keeping it free. After doing an analysis, an internal needs assessment, looking internally, externally, we asked Mr. Hartman to come forward with a recommendation of where we should be and keeping to accountability and being fiscally responsible. Dr. Boyers, is there anything that I missed or you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Hartman, you want to take us through this?
Sure.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Just want to again thank you for the opportunity, as Dr. Walsh pointed out. This is something that we've looked into. We've done our research, our homework, and really wanted to be thorough in evaluating how we are supporting our students. Certainly not an ideal situation when a student needs to utilize the credit recovery option, but knowing we've been able to provide it for the past few years has definitely helped. And I think the numbers show that. As you look through the slides, you see the number of seniors we've been able to get on the pathway to earn their diploma and walk across the stage with their peers in May has really been a big accomplishment. As Dr. Walsh stated, prior to the PDLA program and us developing that, we utilized, the district that is, utilized waterfront learning to provide credit recovery opportunities for students, and that was solely based on the family's commitment or investment in paying for those courses. Once we developed the PDLA program, we rolled out the credit recovery option as well as a grade replacement option for the first couple of years of COVID. That certainly helped kind of fill those gaps and catch students up that might have, unfortunately weren't as successful as they could have been based on the circumstances of COVID. We utilized a lot of the ESSER funding to help support those programs, but as you know, that money was all dried up by 2024 as well. Since the spring of 22, we've been offering credit recovery for seniors to finish and make up any of those credits in the fourth quarter, which I mentioned allowed them to then graduate and walk across the stage with their peers in May. So students that successfully complete those credit recovery courses, they had those grades included on their transcript, but the original failing grade remained as well. That was what we thought was in the best interest of accountability and making students realize that while those mistakes can certainly be corrected, there is that impact of the QPA and kind of leveling the GPA field, so to speak. Looking at some of the numbers, you can see the trends of students that needed those credit recovery opportunities in the summer, as well as seniors needing credit recovery courses throughout the school year and specifically during the fourth marking period to close out the year. We looked at the correlation of students needing credit recovery and absenteeism. That's always been something we've tried to improve upon, especially here at the high school. You can kind of see the correlation there, but certainly as the surveys or the conversations have gone out between administration and counselors, social workers, and all of those involved, the onus on the students in real time, concurrently during the school year, to take ownership of their engagement with their courses. There was kind of that feeling that they, at least from the student perspective, that, hey, maybe this wasn't as important because I always knew we could fall back on credit recovery. It was free, it didn't cost anything, it was only 8 weeks in the summer. If things weren't going well during the school year, we saw there was a lot more complacency with students feeling like, well, I can just make this up later and it's not as important now. The idea is that we want to utilize credit recovery not as a way to make a profit or to find some extra cash, but to put it incentivize and put skin in the game, so to speak, for our students. And looking at the financial burden that the district has taken with this, looking at the stipends for teachers is really kind of the focal point. If we can find a way to help make up that revenue or at least that cost, it kind of balances out from the standpoint of where the financial piece of this comes from. So in summary, we looked at some other districts, looked at our comparables of what are other districts doing, what are other agencies doing. The districts around us that had credit recovery programs often utilized and relied on waterfront learning in the AIU. Waterfront charges $275 a course. Kiski charges $155 a course. A lot of those schools in the western districts, or west of us I should say, kind of relied on Kiski for their credit recovery program, and most of those in Allegheny County that didn't offer their own leaned on waterfront. So price point wise, we wanted to be comparable and kind of land on a space that we thought was fair for our students and families here. So our proposal recommendation was that the consensus among administration and counselors, well, we needed to have some type of investment from students when looking at credit recovery. And we thought that charging a fee really put a lot more of that ownership back on the student to take pride in ownership of what they're doing during the school year and not just rely on the credit recovery being free to them in the summer. So seniors needing a credit recovery course in the fourth quarter, they would be expected to pay a fee of $150 per credit. Obviously, if it's a half credit course, then it would be half that cost. Any other students who needed to take credit recovery during the summertime, primarily students in grades 9 through 12, or 9 through 11, I guess, would pay the same fee. We would offer a reduced fee for students that received free and reduced meals. Those fees would then be paid by check or PayPal. We've worked with our technology department to set up a PayPal option and have that available for families out of a convenience for everybody. We would continue to maintain our partnership with the AIU and Waterfront Learning to license that Edgenuity platform that we utilize for PDLA and our credit recovery courses, as well as continue to utilize our own teachers to monitor and assist and provide feedback to students during those credit recovery time periods. Any questions?
Can I ask, just if this says that we're beginning with this school year, can we make sure that we have a clear communication, especially to all senior families, as soon as this gets passed, if it gets passed, so that they would know, so that those students who, like you were speaking of, aren't just, hey, in the end of the 9 weeks, I'm going to get something free that's going to save me.
That's already been, we've already had conversation that we feel the timing right now.
Yes.
In true transparency, I think we talked about this internally about a year ago. And we've been making sure that we're going through, we're hearing the voices of our teachers, our social workers, our school counselors, and also being fair to our taxpayers.
Sure.
This is not something that we're required to offer. It's not an accommodation. This has been something that we put in place to bridge the gap coming out of COVID, to work with families. And now the recommendation is to move back in the direction where other schools are. So.
I'm only comfortable doing this starting next school year. We started this school year, this is what we said our plan was, this is what's been offered, and I won't be voting in favor of this in 2 weeks. I'll do it if we move it for the next school year, but I don't care that we're into the almost out of, well, after that we'll be done with the first 9 weeks when we actually vote on this. This was an offering to families, we've budgeted for this, and I'm in favor of saying, okay, next summer, this is the new rules, this is what's going to be to going into the next school year, but we've already started this school year. So to me, this conversation needed to be in July or August, and it's not there, and that's okay. I'm not upset about that either way. Just, we've already started the school year. These are the terms for this school year. I'm comfortable saying, next school year, this is what's expected of you. And making sure that we have kids on track, because we might have some kids that are still really not on track, and I don't want those children falling in any gaps either. So I would ask that this be delayed and start next school year, not this current school year that we've already started.
Anyone have any other thoughts? Can I ask, do we have 5 that are comfortable with moving it forward for this school year? I'm fine as long as we're communicating it with folks. 1, 2, 3. Bev, Ron, Renee. Is that a no?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Is there any feedback that you may have in regards to maybe looking at the following year? Would that make it something that's more reasonable? I'm just asking. This is discussion.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
To me, it is next year. We've already started. We'll be done with 9 weeks when we vote on this. It's just, I don't feel it's fair to students. I can respect that we want to be fair to everybody all the way around. These numbers are already in our budget. We've already passed a budget with these numbers. That's all I'm saying. I'm good. Do it for next year.
I guess my argument to that is, and I don't mean argument, but my devil's advocate to that is, I don't think there should be any student sitting in any class preparing to fail in order to have a free 8-week class to graduate. Do you know what I'm saying?
No doubt, but I don't think there's one kid sitting in here really thinking, hey, I don't really care. I'll just do this for 8 more weeks.
I think that's
well,
not true.
But if you are, then you already
I
hate
think
school,
they are.
and so you're already there, and you're already putting more punishment on yourself. So sometimes this kind of thing is a lesson learned for the future too. Sorry to say
That's
that,
why
but it is.
and here's what I would say. I don't know if the compromise is, hey, this year it's at, what are we at? What would we say, 150? I'm looking at
I was
But
thinking.
I'm saying like,
yeah.
this year it's at 75 and the next year it's at 150. I can understand if we're saying it's a financial hardship to a family, but I don't know that, I think there are definitely students who are saying it's okay. If I don't try hard, I know there's a safety net and my mom or dad don't have to pay a penny for that safety net in order for me to take a class real quick and walk at graduation with my peers. And so I think when there's some skin in the game, there's something to be said for that and for having to be held accountable to their coursework. That's all that I would say.
And I'm good with that. I'm not opposed to that argument at all. I'm opposed to it being this current school year. The first 9 weeks has already passed when we vote on this. That is, to me, you've set up those kids that maybe are sitting in that classroom this first 9 weeks thinking, I don't care, but I really don't believe that there's a whole lot of children in this building in particular that really don't care and only want to focus on this and are
Yeah, I'm
concerned.
not saying they
I don't
want
believe
to,
that
right.
that's the norm here. But at the end of the day, look, we're about to spend $500,000 on a playground, and we're bickering over this. This is ridiculous.
I'm not bickering. I thought we were having a discussion.
No, but I mean, I like how Fox Chapel does it, actually. Like, no fee for the base classes. Like, the core classes that are required, there's no fee. Like, but we all have already went through the first 9 weeks, and we are setting up those kids that are already struggling for failure and saying, and maybe it will be a financial hardship. Quite frankly, we have how many people that aren't working right now, that are, that might live in our community, that are forced to go to work and aren't getting paid and don't know if they're going to get that money back. So again, we're in wacky times. And so I say we already started the school year with these terms of what this is going to be. Just move it to next summer.
Let me ask a quick question. Is this in the Program of Studies, Code of Conduct, anywhere that credit recovery was fee-free for this school year?
It's not in the Code of Conduct or the handbook for this year. I don't know the verbiage off the top of my head. I believe it said that they'll be offered. I don't know. No, actually, I'm sorry, I take that all back. It is in the specific summer programs handbook.
Right.
So
That goes out.
But
Yeah,
for the
that-
seniors, there's nowhere that it's written and addressed for the senior that we passed already?
I was going to say is, what I'm hearing is, would it be fair to say for our seniors that we would wait till the following year? But if you're
But
going
for
into the summer, I think that's a little bit different. Maybe if you're looking,
I mean, I would think that summer gives them enough, gives notice now
Right.
that there's a payment, but for the seniors, that it would be free, continue to be free.
Because the summer handbook comes out in the spring. We haven't passed, right? We haven't
Usually-
passed the
usually it's March.
2026 summer handbook.
Yeah, that
it's
time
not
frame,
until
March,
then.
yeah.
and the challenge is, and you bring up a good point about Fox Chapel, but their operating budget is more than $50 million more than ours.
And that's
Yeah.
fine.
And they can afford that, where, we're trying to be as responsible as we can, and we're looking at everything. And I think as we get into the conversations later about construction, you're going to see that same approach in regards to what the topic is. We're always trying to be reasonable. To me, it seems like our seniors, I take great pride and joy when I see some kiddos that are struggling to graduate and working with Mr. Hartman and with our teachers, and I'm able to hand them a diploma at the end of May. Because I remember when I started here, what that looked like. We'd have 8 to 10 kids in the lobby trying to make a graduation ceremony. It wasn't the same, and you can't recreate that opportunity for our kids. So if you're looking for a compromise, if there's not 5, to me, looking at the seniors this year of still offering it, but as we go into next summer, we're talking about it now. The vote would occur in 2 weeks. I think that's plenty of time for our 9th, 10th, and 11th graders to know what that means. Because they may decide not to take it. They'll take a course next year instead of a study hall. So they still have that opportunity where maybe our seniors do not.
I would just still say
Yeah.
we should, in that overarching communication,
Yeah.
future forward, like, let's say it goes out in 2 weeks, it should say what's happening for 26, 27, right? So you're
Yeah,
going to tell them, hey,
absolutely.
9th through 11th, but also if you're going to be a senior next year,
Yep.
so that they know that
We
and
will-
they're well aware of it.
In January, we'll be moving a lot of the academic programs, study, handbooks, all of that forward. And depending on how this board moves forward, it will all be included.
I'm only going to vote for it if the whole thing is moved to
Okay.
for the next school year.
I'm comfortable with seniors and summer. Like seniors, it's okay, and then summer that we start to charge. I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts.
I guess my question is, whenever we run the numbers, because it's saying like, okay, last year we paid, am I reading this right, $8,100 for credit recovery
For the seniors?
for the stipends
That's for teacher stipends, so
per teacher?
we use our PDLA teachers during the
Total.
school year.
Total.
Right.
Those students are added to those teacher rosters, and the way that it's written in the CBA is that those students that go over that limit would
Right.
basically hit that mark to enact that additional stipend. So the 24-25, the 8,100 is specifically just for the seniors, in addition to the 12,000 that's every summer.
Once the students enroll, you have to hire teachers.
Right, so $20,000.
$20,000 for,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, to me, I just feel like it's not that much money that, why are we charging to begin with? I understand, like, you want people to have skin in the game, but I also wonder, like, the schools that are charging, is there a difference in the number of students that are going to summer recovery? Like, are we trying to deter that from happening?
When speaking with the principals and the counselors, the main catalyst for this is how do we offer a deterrent of complacency or laziness or just a give up attitude of why do it now when I can get it for free later? There was no discussion or objective to say, let's put a price tag on this. It was more of a, in this day and age, how do you incentivize anything for a young person? And that's,
Maybe, Mr. Hutton, can you explain how credit recovery works? Why a student would want credit recovery when their grade would be in a situation that they would need it?
Sure. So essentially, as the grades work through the high school, at least, that average of each quarterly grade, when we get to the third quarter, depending on that student's grade, it's a pretty good indicator during the fourth marking period that they know exactly the minimum grade they need to get in order to pass for the year. Most students are obviously achieving at a high level, or they want to, internally motivated to do the best they can. But there are a select group of students that just look at the bare minimum. I need a 60 to pass. That's all I care about. That's all I want. And that's obviously fine for them. But mathematically, when it's realized that a student is at a place where they can no longer pass and they can't get that credit for the year, the next option is then to take the credit recovery course. So the summer program runs 8 weeks. The students would take those courses online. We have those teachers that are available to help in person and virtually, and the students take that class and they get the credit, and it's entered onto their transcript and shows up that they earned the credit. The failing grade still remains there, but the new grade helps kind of balance that out, or the credit recovery grade, I should say, helps balance that out on the transcript. So when we get to the end of the year, we know which students are going to need credit recovery. We send home a communication to those families saying, hey, you're in danger of failing for the year. If you need credit recovery, this is where you go to sign up. They go through their community portal in Sapphire. They sign up and register. That gives us our numbers. We obviously continue to run grade reports the last 4 weeks of school to really solidify what that final number is going to be, so we have staffing and all of those things in place. For the seniors, that all happens much more quickly on a shorter time frame when we hit the semester, so we know the first 2 marking periods, kind of where those kids are tracking, who are our focus group, and then at the end of the third quarter is when we run that final number to know which seniors definitely are going to need to make up that credit recovery class during the year in the fourth quarter. So they're taken out of their class that they were failing in person, placed in credit recovery, utilize the study hall, or if they're already a PDLA kiddo that's home, they just have that credit recovery course plugged in.
Not all schools offer credit recovery. It's not a requirement that we're supposed to do this if we're in a different position, like some districts are. They could just end it. Or they force them to go to the AIU. That we keep this in-house. And I think the recommendation is just to defer the cost to the families and the students that are taking advantage of this additional service. So that's why we have discussion, There's been a couple.
And I just
I
say
have one
too,
more
Dr. Walsh, not to
question.
interrupt.
Sorry, I
We-
didn't interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry. We're one of the only districts that offer the opportunity during the fourth quarter.
Seniors, right.
Which is
Right.
pretty remarkable in the sense that most kiddos would just miss out on that opportunity to walk with their peers or, redeem themselves to get that diploma and have that family experience of graduation and leading up to that summer. So it's amazing that we offer that, but I think, the consensus among administration was let's try to find another way to motivate these kiddos, especially as senioritis hits. It seems like earlier and earlier every year. It's really a way to kind of hold that carrot out there in the sense of that diploma and give them that incentive to keep digging and to try their hardest throughout the entire year.
I have it's a data question, and you probably don't know the answer to it now, and that's okay. I'd like an answer back, though. What percentage of our kids that are in credit recovery, 9 through 11 or 12, for whatever, how you have them categorized here, seniors I know are separate, that are in credit recovery because they just don't care and they feel like they can get that free thing in 8 weeks? I'd like to know the breakdown of the kids that just don't care versus the kids, because we seem to be putting all these kids in one basket that they just don't care and they know they get something free. I would like to know the data breakdown on what that is, from the kids that just don't care
Perception of
to
our
the
social
kids
workers,
that
counselors, yeah.
really are struggling and maybe they need that extra 8 weeks
Teachers,
to
yeah.
get a real grasp on the topics that they're needing to learn, or they need that extra help. Or maybe they had a health issue, or maybe a family issue, or something that completely outside of here that we don't know about. So I would just like a data breakdown of the kids that just don't care.
Yeah, I don't know that number, and that'd be hard to quantify. We'd have to probably generate a survey and then go through that whole process. I'm not sure if that's the route we want to take, but I think, inquiring through our counselors, our social workers, they could probably give us good intel as to which students, the numbers, looking at just last year, 66 students in the summer, not all of those students were taking, multiple classes. It might have been one here or there, and it's not necessarily to categorize them as they're, apathetic and they no longer care. Certainly there are circumstances where hardships happen or, things come up, and unfortunately circumstances just dictate that they didn't meet the bar for that year. But I think if we looked at the numbers, you would see there's a decent chunk of kiddos that have multiple courses that obviously those intervening measures that have happened throughout the year haven't worked. So I think the next step is then trying to, put the financial piece on and say, okay, well, maybe this will spark your energy or realization that we have to dig deeper and try a little bit harder throughout the year.
And I think there's a point, and I appreciate it because I know the high school is working on attendance big time right now.
Yep.
And I think that's a huge piece to see in that fourth column where the average number of absences was 30 across
And that's-
those students who participated. And that's average.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yep. And so I think that speaks volumes as well. So, okay, I think, yeah.
Should be taken into consideration if we offer it to them. If you're never coming to class, why are we offering you this out if you're not coming anyways and there's no extenuating circumstances? I think that's a separate conversation than
Correct.
to include them with everyone else.
But I think that's where it becomes tough to make, instead of we're making it more and more judgment versus this is the policy, and that's where I think that nominal fee, right? It's less, paying for the credit recovery is less than what I'm paying for a kid's college and high school class, right? It's less than what we're paying for basketball boosters. It's less than what we're paying for football boost. If we actually talk about what we're talking about,
But
it's
in
a
the grand-
nominal
but
amount.
we don't know the makeup of these kids
I
too. Like
agree with that, but you're also, this is probably hard and fast to say but you're also paying teachers a really good fair amount of money to teach that student while they're in the classroom. And so then we're paying an additional amount to teachers to teach them again. I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying that idea of a little bit of skin in the game so that people understand and have a motivation to do the work now versus kicking the can down the road to do it later. I'm not opposed to that, as I guess what I would say, especially because we're offering reductions based on financial situations as well. So can we do this and just, let me ask them in segmentations. Do we have 5 to do beginning the charges with the summer of 2026 programming? So we would begin charging for credit recovery at $150 a credit or $75 for a half credit in the summer of 2026. Are there 5?
The seniors would be waiting.
Well, give me a second on the seniors. I'm going to get to that one. So are we all right with 5 for the summer of 2026 to begin, which is this upcoming summer, when the board, for those who are here on the board in March, whenever the board reviews the summer programming in March, that included in that would be $150 for summer 2026. Are there folks that are in favor of that? Can you show hands, or are we not able? Just Mike. So there's 1, 2, no, not ready, not ready, not ready, not ready, 3. So 3 that are ready, Mike wouldn't matter as 4. Okay? And are there 5 who are good with moving forward to do seniors for the school year of 26, 27? Next school year, not this school year, to do 150 for a credit, 75 for a half credit. Do we have 5 to move that? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Why are we just seniors?
I'm saying that I'm getting us to breaking it down for these guys to understand where we're moving. So for seniors, we're at 26, 27. I was looking at the summer to see if we're able to move the summer forward. Folks weren't ready for that yet. So now I'm going to ask for the summer of 27, not this coming summer is 26. It would be after the 26, 27 school year, for the summer of 27, to do $150 for credit recovery, 75, or for a credit, and 75 for a half credit. Are folks comfortable with that? Are there 5 that are comfortable with that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have 5 to move forward with. Seniors are free, right? We just
This
said
year will
seniors?
be free. Everything will go into play the following year, and we'll give everybody a year's notice, starting this October, that going into the next school year, it will look different,
Yep.
which is fair.
Yep,
Okay.
okay.
And I think that's what Ms. Stepnick initially was
That's all I
advocating
care
for.
about, just
Yeah.
the first 9 weeks have already gone when we vote.
Yeah, I understand, but we're.
30 days
We're
ago,
fine.
different story.
We're good, okay. So letter D is the Conmigo survey draft.
So this is on the agenda as an informational item only, and I'm going to have Dr. Boyers go into a little bit more detail about this. The reason it's on here, because when we do surveys, there's a policy in regards to if we're going to use that survey data to a third party. Right now, we're looking to work with other partners around the region and looking to bring in perhaps significant alternative revenue. And also working with our partners at the AIU. So Dr. Boyers, can you just go a little deeper in regards to this? Thank you.
Yes, sir. So last year, Dr. Zarmak, if you recall, was accepted into the AIU AI Fellowship. Through that fellowship, he received certain monies that were from the Hillman Foundation that needed to be allocated towards tools and different trainings throughout the school year. As a part of that, Conmigo reared its head as an opportunity to pilot this tool. It is an AI tutoring tool that tutors through ELA and math. It does not replace the teacher in any capacity, but it helps to understand the gaps that may exist in a student's projection pathway and allows them to receive additional assistance. So he's piloting that tool at the middle school specifically this year with some of our 7th grade students, particularly focused in math. However, they have access to the tool from the ELA side as well. During our August 18th in service, we invited many local and regional partners to assist in our AI presentations and our breakouts. And one of those partners said, hey, team, we don't have very many, if any, students in the districts in the region that are utilizing this tool. There might be opportunities for you to consider conducting a pre-post survey with students to gain their perceptions on the tool itself that may present an opportunity to utilize that data and potentially approach others such as Hillman, Grable, or local foundations that may have some desire to fund this tool moving forward if you find value in it. So in collaboration with Dr. Thomas, myself, and Dr. Zarmak, we put together a perception survey. Again, it's pre-post. The target group is a 7th grade group. In alignment with policy 235.1, the policy, parents can opt out of their student participating in the survey, as well as any point in time during the survey, a student could elect to exit the survey. There's no personally identifiable information from the survey being collected. It's more of the perceptions of how they feel the tool is. And so depending on how the data may emerge, we wanted to alert the board that we may utilize the data to approach a third-party entity to consider some additional funding for the long-term use of this tool. they may not desire that, but again, we're hearing that there might be an appetite for that. So that's why it's coming forward this evening.
And I think important to note is the pre-post portion of it, and you just rolled this out the beginning of, or the end of last month, right?
We have some students who have engaged. We did some additional training during the September 26th, whatever our last in-service was at the end of September. So our middle school staff have gone through some training. A few students have engaged in the tool and used the tool, but again, we wanted to strike kind of early so that way they can kind of get that pre-perception, and then at the end of the year, has their perceptions changed, grown, or are they indifferent, and then what might we do with that data in an effort to better support our students and potentially lock up this tool long-term with outside fundings.
And Dr. Boyers, do you feel like the pre-post, regardless of the funding that you might get, will have value to the staff internally?
I do, Dr. Anderson, because right now we're engaged in our K-12 math program review, and so we're talking about tools, resources, and trying to narrow that a little bit. And so what we found thus far with this tool is there is an AI helper that's engaged in this tool with the student, but on the same token, once they've exhausted that so many times, the tool is recognizing that they're asking for additional coaching and support. So it's able to detect that. Whereas other tools that kids are able to maybe go into a third-party website, put the problem in like a Gemini lab, if you will, and take a snapshot and have it figured out and then plug in the AI regurgitation. So this tool has that built in, which is one of the first tools that we see, I guess, bridging that gap at this point in time.
Okay. Any questions?
So just to be clear, we're not approving the survey. We're approving the school district to be able to share the survey results with third-party providers for the opportunity to access funding. Is that correct? Because the policy only requires the board to approve surveys that are done externally with our students, but in this case, it's done internally. So am I making a correct inference?
Yes, sir. So the survey was locally developed by Dr. Zarmak, Dr. Thomas, and myself. We are bringing this forward as, again, there's an opportunity to share that data with third-party entities, and there may be an opportunity for this board to accept funding based upon, those entities' desires to collaborate with us based on our findings. So yes, sir, you are correct.
Okay. Yeah, just as long as that's covered to the record, we're basically saying we created a survey and that we would like to be able to share it with third-party anybody's to engage in funding opportunities. I just prefer that be on the record.
But it's not just with anybody, it will be specific on who it's shared with, correct?
Not necessarily. So there's been some recommendations from our AIU partner members who have said that there might be some, like I mentioned, I don't want to be premature, but they're mentioning that Hillman might have an appetite for this. But given that there's other entities that have funding sources that they work with, such as Grable, that also may. So those institutions are very research-based, and they want to know, what's going on with what you're doing. And so, again, I don't want to just name drop per se, but again, we were approached by the AIU because of just our partnership in that August 18th opportunity, but also the AIU's investment with the Hillman already through the AI fellowship. So there's already that conduit connection that's already naturally occurring. Again, Hillman would be the one that would have to say, yes, we desire that agreeable, yes, but we may have an opportunity to pursue other avenues.
But it's not like we're just putting it out there.
No, we're not just going to publicly say these are our students, seventh grade students' perceptions with Conmigo.
Yep.
I don't know that many people would care.
Right.
I don't know that I want 7%. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the purpose, as I said in the beginning, is just informative. This is going on behind the scenes. We want our community, we want our board to be aware of what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Yep.
So that's why it was on here as an informative item.
Now, just to clarify for the community, should anybody watch or tune in at some given point to this or follow minutes, I think it's just important to be very clear. It's just data we're going to collect. No student information is going to be shared. No, nothing like, it's just data that we're going to collect and be able to utilize. And I sat through an AI training on Friday a little bit, and I'm not so scared of it anymore, but there's some good opportunities coming from the IU too.
So yes, to go on record, Mrs. Stepnick, you are correct. There's no personally identifiable information. It is more the perceptions of the students using the tool at an initial engagement at infancy of the tool, and then now we've used the tool through May. Have our perceptions changed? Is it positive, negative? What are those percentages, and what does it mean?
Okay. Moving on, there's nothing under community engagement. Finance, Mr. Stropke, lead board liaison.
September's monthly budget report, any questions or, and if not, do we have 5 to move it forward? So we got
Okay, nothing for Forbes, intergovernmental, legislative. We are now on to operations. Mrs. Purcell, lead board liaison.
Under operations, we have Pivot Playground surface replacement. We have the Pivot Playground surface replacement as a quote to replace all of the poured rubber under and around the playground area. The existing rubber has significant wear and has places where the top layer is peeling. This quote locks the prices in at the 2025 rates, and the installation will occur in the spring once the temperatures rise. We will find a time to minimally impact the school day, so that it will minimally impact the school day when they do it. Do we have any questions or concerns on that?
That's the all-inclusive playground, just so that we're all aware. Okay.
Do we have 5 to move that forward?
Yep, you're good.
Under letter B, we have the middle school univent repairs. The middle school univent repairs are to make all the necessary repairs that were found when performing the controls work at the middle school. This work already occurred in August and September of 2025, but the amount accumulated was over the board threshold, so this needs to be approved. Most of the work involved are motor repairs, disassemblies, and cleaning the units. Do we have any questions or concerns? Do we have 5 to move that forward?
Okay, thank you. Personnel, we won't discuss this evening. Policy, Ms. Aronth, lead board liaison.
Yes, first we have first reading of policy 123, interscholastic athletics. This includes PSBA recommended revisions. It affirms the district's commitment to providing safe, fair, and inclusive athletic opportunities for all students, consistent with PIAA and state regulations. Is there any discussion on this one?
I have a question. For the name, image, and likeness portion, I was looking for you and I went that way. I don't see anything referencing, I get where we're falling in line with PIAA and with what happened with NCAA, but I don't see anything about our uniforms and when so they have rights to their name, image, and likeness. Is there any part of that that matters if they're in our uniforms or not in our uniforms?
No, I think it does matter, and I think it would matter. Although they can sell their name, image, and likeness, I don't think they can necessarily show up wearing their Plum uniform and put it forth that way.
And can others use our students in their uniforms financially?
No. Yeah, it would not be so. Just if a student really did get a scholarship or some sort of NIL deal from a car dealership, I do not think that student could show up wearing their Plum uniform. I think we would have to give them permission for that, and their NIL likeness is simply themselves.
I just don't feel like we say that.
Maybe we need to.
Yeah, I don't think we say anything about.
I think it says students may use their own name, image, and likeness, you know.
I know, but we have students now
Yeah,
that are putting themselves in our uniforms.
out there. Yeah,
Out there in many different places.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And so I want to understand, if that's okay. I just want to make
Yeah.
sure that we're creating a policy that accounts for what's already happening and other people utilizing our students in that way.
All right,
Yeah.
I think it's a valid point.
We can come back.
I don't know what that means, but I think we should consider it.
This,
Okay.
This is the advantage of having a second reading, because we can take the board feedback, we can meet in our SAC meeting, and we can come back with some updated language.
Okay. That was the only
Okay.
other, the part in that I.
Yeah, and it looks like there's some discussion in the comments as well that
Yeah.
being looked into. Next, we have second reading of policies 1 through 11. Any discussion? Okay. And then we need,
I had a question on 102. I think it's 102.
academic standards?
Yeah. Hold on. Sorry. Just, is our list of courses that are given there, do we feel like that is exhaustive of the content areas that we cover?
That corresponds with the Pennsylvania academic standards categories. It's not specific to Plum.
So we would find ourselves under there somehow?
Yes.
Those are given
correct.
to us by them, and we can find business, computer science, or all of those kind of things shoved into one of those categories?
So if you look at 3, technology would fall into computer science in that realm.
Yeah, but that's K to 5. So then when I start, and then I see 5 as
technology and
technology and
engineering.
engineering, that's fine. It just they seem not to match our program of studies as well, but to your point, if it's the broad state level, then it's fine.
Everything will
And this
fall under
often
that.
happens with PSBA boilerplate language, that it's more comprehensive to the state than it is to us
Yeah.
in a specific sense.
Yep, okay.
I kind of like that it doesn't pigeonhole us.
I agree, yeah.
Because it could, we could decide we're changing the topic, and the name of something, or a topic
Then
of
you're going
something, or a
back.
particular class, and I like that it doesn't pigeonhole us to
Yeah.
that, so.
Yep, good point. Okay, do we have 5 to push these forward? All right, I think that's all.
Okay. Projects and planning, Dr. Richardson and Mrs. Purcell, co-lead board liaisons.
Sure, first we have A, the O block addition and alterations. Do you want me to?
I can talk a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, that's all right. I sit here tonight looking at this recommendation for the O block addition and alternatives bids, and I truly feel that this is something that should be celebrated. We started this process a few years ago in looking at demographic studies, looking at schematic design, getting feedback all along the way from this board. And the feedback has been helpful in guiding our thinking. To me, the celebration is that all the hard work that has been done in regards to putting together estimates and detailed drawings, holding our recommendation to go out to bid, not in the summer, but into the fall, where we thought it would be more competitive. We had 26 contractors that were interested, and it was very competitive. And we came in significantly under those estimates. This also, moving this project forward will bring long-term stability to this community. I often said that even when I was a student, I went to a building for K4, I'd go to one. At the time, it was center just for 6th grade, and then we had 2 junior highs. And it's a similar story that I heard when I came back in 2018. This will give us capacity, K through 12, to bring stability to the community. I think that also needs to be celebrated. Because the bids came in significantly under, it allows us to reallocate more money for our middle school with the same guidelines of safe, warm, and dry. So hence, the roof at the middle school will be a topic of conversation in the upcoming months. As we were going through this process and the feedback along the way, we did have themes. We wanted the recommendations to be functional and operational, and we wanted our buildings to be safe, warm, and dry. You'll notice with the bids this evening, because there's been many conversations and over the last year in regards to some of the aesthetics of adding to the building, you will notice that those have been removed. And in good faith, I could not stand here or sit here tonight and recommend an addition that would cost, or two additions that would cost over, well, the one was $115,000 and the other one was $78,000 for the clouds and the tile. The motorized wall was $78,000. What you're seeing and presented tonight is functional, warm, safe, and dry. And I do believe it should be celebrated. Mr. Manzer, can you talk a little bit about the process and a little bit more detail about the bidding process and how we got to this evening?
Sure. So we select the lowest qualified bidder. The bidders will all submit sealed bids. They typically hand them in like an hour before the bids, and we had a full room of interested parties here. So it was, we already knew that we were going to get good results just by the amount of bidders that we had. So in addition to the amount of the bid, included in each bid is a non-collusion affidavit. So this is a statement that ensures that the bidders are not working together to inflate the prices. And then there's also vendor qualifications to ensure that they are qualified and they can complete the work. And then also a bid bond, which is a financial guarantee that the vendor can complete the contract. If the vendor hasn't produced this level of work before, or the size of their company isn't stable enough, then they will not be able to actually attain a bid bond. So for all of our bidders, we had all of those documents. And we received a really positive result, as Dr. Wall stated, over 26 bidders submitting the bid. And this really was, I think, a positive response of having a great team involved here. And they work with many bidders, and they're able to produce some really great interest in the project. So wanted to specifically thank Eccles Construction Management for the work that they've put in on the project, and certainly HCG as well. So we do have Jade Mayer and John Pappas here from Eccles to provide a little bit of an overview on the bid. And Rob, if you wanted to join in too, that's fine.
Good evening, everyone. As mentioned, we had a very successful bid. Certainly a lot of competition, which helps the strategy of kind of not bidding jobs during the summer that HEG and Eccles kind of employed here, knowing that's busy time and certainly time where people are not overly competitive to be able to get work, I think did help. We were one of the first jobs that bid here in the fall, and we do believe that allowed for the competition to be able to move the project forward. So we have a number of contracts per each contract. The items that are on the agenda tonight represent base bid and those alternate bids that would be recommended for the scope, with the mindset that contractors are itching to move forward. We're actually scheduled, or we'll be scheduling tomorrow, a pre-construction meeting next Wednesday, with the mindset that come the first week in November, they want to try to capitalize, get on site, start to get the site separated, and moving forward with the project. So we were very pleased with the bids. We are pleased to present them to you, and certainly I think we had very close competitive bids, which generally in our world means that it was a very good set of documents that HEG and their team put together to be able to present to the contractors and be able to work through. We had general contractors' bids within a few $1,000s, which is almost unheard of in this business. So we are very pleased to be able to present the bids and the award scenarios to all of you. Can we go through anything in detail?
Any questions?
I think, can you just explain, and I think everybody probably gets it, but what we're looking at when we look at the bid award scenario final?
Yep. I think it'd be helpful just to go through the general.
You don't have to go through every item, but just what highlighting means and how things moved over and how that math was done. I think that's important.
Yeah, so the award scenarios for each contract, we assigned or listed the base bid, and then we listed their alternate bids. And their alternate bids provided a summary of what the work was, and then as we kind of looked at each of the different scope items in the alternate bids, some alternates were add alternates, certainly kind of the strategy, their strategy to how ads and deduct alternates are done throughout the course of bidding as items that we think contractors will move forward with and be aggressive towards. We might put as a deduct alternate, and then certainly if we think there's a bigger scope item that may not make sense, we might move it into an ad scenario. So for the general construction contract, their base bid is identified, and then there are bids that will be included then. The deducts for the lobby and library ceiling changes and the acoustical clouds. That scope was in the base bid. This removes it. So to Dr. Walsh's point, those are the more simplified roof or more simplified ceiling systems is what's included in there. There is an alternate for the additional front canopy. So there was a section of canopy that was going to be identified as base bid. This was an addition piece to be able to go out even further, be able to provide more cover in the event of inclement weather for students as they're queuing up outside. The operable partition was for the library area. It was designed initially, it was kind of kept in. There was a different strategy using 2 pairs of doors that was equally as effective, and certainly the operable partitions are something that become a maintenance issue over time. So it was decided to go ahead and capitalize on that. Good deduct and remove that. Replacement of the interior doors under alternate G10. So from a cost savings perspective, those doors are there, they were fine, but some of them are marked up, dinged up, and so this will replace then all the interior doors that were existing, so everything will match and everything will be new at the end of the project as far as the doors go. Corridor paint schemes, that was just for some graphics within the corridors, again to try to simplify it. That deduct was taken. And then the monument sign was an ad that was added late in the project to change out the sign at the main entrance. That sign's pretty difficult to read as you're coming down the road, so this will provide a new sign out there. And as well, the last alternate for the general contractor, there was a stretch of paving that was meant to be existing right at the entrance drive. This would replace all the asphalt all the way to the main road. Food service equipment is pretty straightforward. The only alternate being accepted is the FS3, which is reusing the existing dry storage shelving, which the food service team has said is in pretty good shape. That did change who the low bidder was, because the deduct for the Trimark was less or was more than the others, which then ended up changing who the low bid was, which is a process and perfectly fine under the rules of bidding for base bids and alternates. Mechanically and plumbing kind of go hand in hand. The alternates that were taken, some of them didn't have dollar values to them, but those items were such that because it was removal of ceiling changes, we went ahead and just accepted them just as a formality for each of those contracts. The electrical kind of falls in line then as well. Electrical alternate E2 for the additional front canopy work coincides with the general construction. E4 for the deletion of the operable partition. As the general contractor alternate comes out, so does the electrical. E5 and E6 or E5 is for the monument sign, again corresponding to the general. E6 under the base bid scenario, it was to provide new lighting for areas that needed to be lit that weren't, but then keep the existing lighting. E6 adds in, changes out the existing lighting so that all your lighting on that campus for the pole lighting will be new and same. And then again, E8 is just a matter of removing the ceiling related items that were taken out through the general construction contract. So pretty straightforward. There's a lot of different alternates just because there's pieces under each of the contracts and the way the project was bid. Those are the summaries, so the motions include base bids with each of those alternates.
If I'm not mistaken, I think when we had our initial estimates, it was around 21.6, and what we're voting on tonight is 19.6, so it's about $2 million.
And I think that's a combination of multiple things. As we mentioned when we presented all the estimates, cost estimators don't try to hit the low number, they try to hit kind of a median number. But as those estimates were provided, I think Rob and his team really did a good job at listening to kind of the feedback from the board, keep it simple, provide the stuff that's needed. There were value engineering kind of work that was done throughout the course of each of those estimates to be able to look at scope, how could things get pulled back. There were site or building exterior changes and things like that did provide kind of a cost savings throughout the way as well. Those weren't necessarily reflected in each of those estimates because they were kind of done after some feedback from the cost estimators in seeing what some of those items would cost. So I think that played out well, though, because it provided not only a good bid day, but also the realization that some of those costs were reduced based on the value engineering that was done during the design.
And this has been an ongoing process. The board meets twice a month, and we get feedback, and then we're back to the drawing board in our meetings, and we meet quite a bit for some time to make sure that we're dotting i's, crossing t's, and I will tell you, it's just been a pleasure working with all the gentlemen that are sitting across from me. They have made the process seamless. They have been fiscally responsible in regards for our taxpayers, and it's allowing us to do a little bit more at the middle school on account of this. So I really appreciate all the work that you all put in, because this is the result of it. And as I said in the beginning, this should be celebrated.
Anything else, Rob? You want me to hit on the other items?
Yeah, let's move these.
Yeah. Do we have 5 to move that forward?
So we would be moving numbers 1 through 5 forward under letter A. Those are each of the different sections itemized out.
So how much will be left of the $30 million for the middle school overall? Because I know that this 19 million isn't including everything. Because after that, there's 500,000 for a playground, plus so how much is left?
Yeah, there's about 6 million in other costs identified in soft costs. And so as we work through those items, we're going to finalize, like, for instance, still furniture is outstanding. As all these items are finalized, we'll provide a revised budget. But we are well under.
But how much will be left for the middle school?
Like I said, we're well under budget, and we'll be able to provide that update to you after all of these items are finalized.
I'll wait then to vote.
Okay, do we have 5 to move A 1 through 5 forward? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lindsay, are you good?
Can someone elaborate on item G4?
Oh, the film?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I miss one?
Yeah, that was not included because we're going to work with our own vendor,
Okay.
and it's a more competitive price.
Yeah, so it's not highlighted here. We've seen this now in a couple of bids recently, that we think that the cost that came in from the contractors is more than what your local vendor would be able to do. So it's not that it wouldn't be included in the project, it'll just be done outside of the contractor's side of things.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about what we paid for the entire district last time.
Okay.
She
Yeah.
can get it a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm good then.
Okay, so we had 6 then.
Okay, we have B, O Block Playground Equipment and Grounds. You want to talk about that too?
Okay, I'll kick this over to Mr. Manzer in a minute. We had an opportunity, looking at the equipment that was part of this process, that the vendor has offered, Mr. Manzer, 50% reduction in price. If we move this forward now, they will store the equipment for us until next spring. Hopefully we can get a few more months of them storing it. If not, we have space at our bus garage. But at a 50% reduction on something that we were going to buy, we felt comfortable moving this forward to the board. Mr. Manzer?
Yeah, this was just a good opportunity that came up in talking with the vendors, is that if we were able to purchase this equipment now, that we'd be able to receive those savings. Very similar, we're just seeing prices go up over all of our items that we're buying, so this is an ability to lock in the price now, and they'll store the equipment until it's ready.
Mr. Manzer, just so I understand, I don't see the 50% reduction, but the price that is quoted is 50%.
Yeah, correct. There's also there's a grant that's listed there
Yeah.
as a negative $50,000.
Is that in addition to? That's what I was that was what was confusing me.
I think that is the discount. Do you have any additional detail on that? Yeah.
$50,000 more than
Okay.
on top of that.
Yep, $50,000 grant that was taken
Got
off
it.
there. Okay.
Then I misspoke then.
Okay. It's,
Okay.
I mean, it's still a $50,000
Yeah,
savings
it's-
to
yeah.
purchase now versus
Maybe until
purchasing.
after the date they gave you, October 24th, November 1st, that 50 would go up 50,000.
Yeah, that says it in the comments. In
I
order to
see.
receive grant pricing, must be received by 10/24, and the equipment must be shipped out by 12/31.
I've got a question, and all things being, we talk about parity. Why is it $225,000 for the surfacing, but we're only spending 70 at Pivot?
It's because it's all
The
new.
base.
One of the things that the contractor is going to do here, I don't know what the PIVC scope is, but the contractor is actually required for the sub-base stone, the under drains, the connection to the storm
Right.
system, the entire structure coming up at O-Block. I think PIVC is just a removal of replacement of the existing surface and none of the subsurface items. So this is, we've had issues in the past, and part of the coordination we had with HCG was every time you seem to transfer from a general contractor doing the stone-based prep to the surface contractor, there's always issues. So what was worked out with the provider for O-Block was for them to take over from the dirt and bring it all the way up to the surface. So all of their extra stone, everything that they need to be able to provide for their landing areas and things like that, all the prep to be done is going to be done by this vendor, so that they can coordinate their own work.
Did we try to see if any of these vendors will do both schools, even though it's requiring different work? I mean, we might be able to save some money doing that.
We're saving $50,000 by moving it forward.
equipment.
Yeah. I mean, I hear parity. I hear parity.
But will Pivot's base be the same as the
It
one
will
at
be,
the center?
there's a standard for this, but when I hear parity, it's always, you know, O-Block may have something that Pivot doesn't, but I never hear that parity when it's O-Block, students, parents, faculty, community.
Rick, I'm
Where's
asking a
the, I
question.
know, but where's the parity for the O-Block families since Pivot and HB have been constructed? I'm only hearing parity when it comes to Pivot. You know, we're moving these forward, and one of the themes at the beginning was we wanted equitable schools for all. And O-Block, I mean, you all walked it, and you've seen it. And we believe that this will bring it up to speed. We're working through the bidding process. That's why we're locked in on some bidders. And there's separate projects that are going on at the same time. The work over at Pivot can start in a couple months. You know, so, you know, as we're looking at these vendors, we work with Ms. Schaefer. We talk to our facilities department. And because we want the minimum amount of disruption too. We don't want to hold off too much longer when we know the kids are going to be on that surface at Pivot in the spring and in the summer. So I'm just saying, I just noticed when I hear parity, I want to make sure that, you know, there's parity with O-Block students because they haven't had it.
No, and I'm not, and my son just went through the middle school, and those kids certainly don't have it, and there's no end in sight for that. But regardless, I'm asking about the playground base.
And Ms. Schaefer, if I'm reading this correct, we're comparing 2,400 square feet at Pivot to 9,400 square feet at O-Block, correct? So it's, not that it's apples to oranges, but I'm saying even in size, you're going to have a much larger playground area that's receiving that at O-Block than what exists at Pivot. Okay,
Get ready for that conversation later.
okay. That's okay, just let her be. I think, are there any other questions or concerns on the equipment or the grounds?
Okay, 5 to move that forward.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay.
I'll vote when I know what's left for the middle school.
So we have 6 to move that forward. Mr. Caligari, are you good with letter B?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And on letter A, were you good with that too? I didn't hear you on that one. Which was all the different additions and alterations. Okay, thank you so much. Sorry about that.
Okay, letter C, O-Block special inspections. Do you want to give a little explanation on that?
Sure. So special inspections, we hire a third party to inspect the contractor's work, primarily things like the quality of the concrete and the steel. And then, so Eccles provided a little mini bid here and received 3 quotes of consultants that we could hire, and construction engineering consultants was the lowest of the three quotes. And so the way they bill, there's a schedule in there that includes per testing fee. So every time they run a test, they will charge us a fee. Anything to add on that, John?
Yeah, these are, the new code requires special inspections for materials, so the actual concrete compressive strength, torquing of steel bolts, anything kind of proctors material and things like that be done not by the contractors anymore, but by the owner, so that there's good oversight there. So we reached out to 3 local firms that HEG and Eccles have worked with and had them priced up based on a price sheet that we use quite a bit. So at least we're comparing apples to apples within those summarizations of things. And construction and engineering consultant, CEC, generally was lower on most every item, and we think that's basically due to proximity to the site. And certainly the big items are concrete testing, kind of labor for the individuals out here. They're coming from a shorter distance. That was reflected in their pickup costs, their mileage costs, and those types of things. So as Mr. Manzer said, these are kind of a unit item. They're here as needed, as the contractor requires them to be on site based on their hours and the tests that they do. And Jade will certainly be watching over that as it goes. So they kind of go hand in hand with the contractors, though. That's why we're bringing them to you now, because pretty much as soon as the contractors start on site, there's some testing that needs to start to get a baseline.
Just a quick question. If something fails, does the cost of a retest go on to the contractor?
On to the contractor.
Yep, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions on that one? Okay, 5 to move that forward. Letter C.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're good, right? Yep. Mike, are you good with that?
Yes.
Thank you.
And letter D. So we have 1 and 2 for the insurance programs.
Sure. So 2 programs here. The owner-controlled insurance program, referred to as OSIP, is insurance on the new work, and the builder's risk policy is the additional insurance on our existing facilities. So if a contractor that's working on the new facilities damages our existing facilities, it goes under the builder's risk policy. If there's a claim under the new part of the facility, then it goes under the OSIP program. And the OSIP program is coordinated by us, the school, instead of having individual coverage by the different contractors. Typically, the contractors like this because there's not a debate on who did what. It is a insurance program that we own, that it will respond no matter which contractor did it. So there's less infighting between insurance companies when you have the owner-controlled insurance program. And both are obviously highly recommended that you have both types of insurance on the project.
There are plenty of things.
Right.
Any other discussion on that? Okay, 5 to move D, 1 and 2 forward. Mike, are you okay with D, 1 and 2?
Mike? Hello?
Mr. Caligari, are you good with D, 1 and 2?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Dr. Richardson. All right, last, Mrs. Stepnick, Student Services, Lead Board Liaison.
We have 2 service renewals. I'd point out that Wesley Schools is from 2025 to 2028, and then Bradley Schools only from 2025 to 2026. Any questions on either of those renewals? And letter B is Touch Math Renewal funded by federal funds. So Dr. Thomas, do we really know that there's federal funds? Do we actually physically control them right now?
We actually control them right now.
That's all I care. I mean, I don't care if we have to have it, we have to have it, but
You know,
do we
speaking
actually
of that-
control them, or are we sitting in limbo for something that will never show up? Okay.
Dr. Thomas, you want to answer that? Or,
Yes.
okay, so along those same, Ms. Stepnick, along those same lines, there has been several inquiries have come in regards to federal funds. Mr. Manzer, and you want to talk a little bit about where we are with federal funds in the state of Pennsylvania? Because there is a perception that we do not have funds coming into the district.
Sure, so all of our federal funds are currently allocated, so that includes our IDEA funding and our title funding has been allocated, and so we will receive those funds, and also access funding is still flowing as usual.
Right.
Sorry to go off on a tangent, but that was a timely question.
Oh, yeah, no, we
so-
just had a big update on that on Friday, and more about, and it affects more of their IU, really and truly, in our Head Start program and early childhood learning programs than it does for us. But some districts aren't the same, they're not in the same position as us, so.
Yeah, do we
Maybe
have
five,
five? We have three things, so just A, 1, and 2, and letter B. Do we have 5 to move those? Okay. All right, that's it. So upcoming public meeting, a board action meeting Tuesday, October 28th, 2025, 7 o'clock here in the library. HDG and Eccles, thank you so much for your time this evening. Oh, wait, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're out.